Welcome friends. Let us discuss the next part of organic chemistry, that is purification of organic compounds. Though we synthesize many of the organic compounds in laboratory, these of all are associated with some of the other compounds. They may be present with the less quantity. If they are present with the very minimum quantity, the other components present in the expected material are said to be the impurities. Thus, purification is needed at every stage. Purification stands for the purified compound stands for 100% of one particular molecule's composition. It doesn't have any of the other molecules. Such kind of compound is generally known as purified compound, otherwise pure organic compounds. Yes, always every chemical reaction is associated with some byproducts. We have to eliminate that byproducts by many of the methods. Those of all methods generally used for the purification of expected organic compounds are the present topic of discussion, that is purification of organic compounds. Yes, the general techniques that we generally use for the purification of organic compounds are to remove the impurities, to remove the very less quantity of the substance present in the material. Those of all are different techniques are there for the removal purpose. Those are sublimation process, crystallization process, distillation process. Similarly here, differential extraction followed by chromatography. These of all are the 5 different varieties of techniques generally used for the purification process of organic compounds. Whereas this distillation includes once again simple distillation, fractional distillation, distillation under reduced pressure, as well as steam distillation also. Thus we are having sublimation, crystallization, distillation of varieties, followed by differential extraction, and the chromatographic separations are the normal used separation techniques or the purification techniques present for the organic compounds. We will go in detail one by one which particular physical state is eligible for the separation under a particular method, and what might be the logic or the condition that holds the process. As a result, how much extent pure compound is obtained, how the operational setup is present, and why that has to be present like this. These are all things in detail we will discuss. The first topic of discussion is sublimation. Yes, sublimation, the process of conversion of solid material to the direct vapor state or the gaseous state is said to be the sublimation process. There are certain materials existing in organic chemistry where they are converted from solid physical state to the gaseous physical state without having liquid physical state, that is zero liquid physical state is present. If you go on heating, whatever the solid material is there, solid material is converted to gaseous material. Such kind of substances are said to be sublimable substances. Whereas such kind of nature containing substances, if they are associated with any of the minor impurities, those are separated by sublimation techniques or the purified by the sublimation technique. In this process, the eligible logic that has to be followed is the impurity or the minor component is having higher boiling point, whereas the material which is expected to undergo sublimation, purification by sublimation process, should have lower sublimation temperature. The general organic compounds that are purified by this method are naphthalene, carbon tetrachloride, iodine, camphor are the best examples which works under sublimation process for the purification. Now we will go for the setup and how the process is going to be executed. The technical sublimation operation execution is consisting of apparatus like this is funnel, glass funnel, and this is a china dish where the solid material is generally held, which can maintain for the high temperature, and this is water bath in which water is taken and homogeneous gradation of temperature is generally maintained and it is heated, and this is a tripod to hold the water bath, and on this water bath we will keep the china dish followed by, in the inverted version we will keep the funnel over that one, and this is the burner. With the help of the gas it is going to be producing heat energy, and there is a asbestos sheet also. Asbestos sheet having holes is kept between the funnel as well as the china dish. Such kind of a sealed setup is generally maintained for the execution of the sublimation process. This is inverted funnel closed with cotton. This is tripod, this is burner, and this is hot water bath. And in this china dish followed by our material with dots as well as the stars is indicated, that is having our organic compound followed by some impurities. And at the top of that, in the inverted version, funnel is kept, and whereas this particular china dish is covered with a sheet having holes which can sustain at high temperature, that is asbestos sheet is kept at the top of the china dish. On heating the material, here what happens, water is getting heated, so heat energy is transformed towards the material organic compound associated with impurities. As I said, the logic, thus here the organic compound is having lower sublimation temperature, so therefore that is easily converted to the next disordered physical state. That physical state is gaseous physical state. That gas enters into the inverted funnel chamber through the asbestos wire holes. So therefore now it is entered, and here temperature is very little, it never escapes, it is a sealed system. Here, as being the temperature is very low, it is solidified and converts to the solid and physical state. If it is solidifies at the walls, it appears in the form of a layer. If it solidifies in the atmosphere as it is, it fell down into the china dish. Thus the process is a continuous process. Our total material slowly, gradually converted to the gaseous physical state, and it is settled at the inner walls of the funnel. Thus the impurities which are maintaining higher temperature, higher boiling temperature, maintain solid and physical state, never moves to the disordered physical state, they will be remained in the china dish. Thus we will be getting almost all the cent percent purified compound under this sublimation process. Thus under sublimation process, the pure compound is deposited at the inner walls of the inverted funnel kept over the china dish, and the impure, the small quantity of the material which is having higher melting point is present in the china dish. Thus these are purified and are separated at different locations. Thus we will be getting almost all 100% pure organic compound. Yes, the second method used for the purification of organic compounds is crystallization. Crystallization is applied for solid organic compounds, and if it is associated with impurities, then purification is generally done by crystallization method. The basic logic to execute the crystallization is the solubility differences of the organic compound as well as the impurity present in it. Whereas a proper solvent, whether it is a pure solvent or a mixture of more than one solvents, combination has to be chosen. In this solvent, the organic compound is having lower solubility at lower temperature. With increasing of temperature, the solubility or soluble amount of compound should increase, whereas impure compound should be soluble in that given solvent or the mixture of solvents. So on cooling from hot temperature to low temperature, whatever the dissolved organic compound is there, that will solidifies, crystallizes out. On decanting the excess solvent, we will be getting the pure solid form of organic compound. This way crystallization is generally executed. The crystallization process apparatus setup is present in such a way that this is a sealed jacket consisting of a end, and here it is filled with the water, and it is going to be heated from one end. So therefore here at the interior of the funnel, the same homogeneous high expected temperature is maintained, and the temperature present in the water of hot water can be measured. Now here whatever the mixture that we want to separate, that was made to high temperature, whereas that mixture is taken in a vessel and that is allowed to pour into the funnel. Funnel is associated with the filter paper over here. So therefore here what happens is, whatever the soluble compounds are there, those soluble compounds which are present at high temperature, by maintaining high temperature, they are filtered in such a way that the impurities as well as the organic compound filtered once and whatever the insoluble impurities are there, those can be separated from the filter paper. Now on cooling this, filter it. Here what happens, this is present at high temperature. Now the temperature is low temperature over here. Here while filtering we are maintaining high temperature because we are maintaining high solubility of the organic compound. But here after filtration the filtrate is adjusted at low temperature. Slowly its temperature decreases and comes towards the lower temperature. Now on lowering the temperature, its solubility decreases. Whatever the excess amount of saturated solution which was prepared in the beginning, now it is became super saturated and it is going to be settled as a crystal. Thus by decanting the excess liquid, now we will be getting pure crystals. In this way crystallization is generally executed. Yes, benzoic acid is dissolved in water. It is having lower solubility at low temperature. With increasing of temperature in water, its solubility increases. Thus it is purified from the impurities by crystallization process. Distillation, this is used for the liquid organic compounds. When the components present in the mixture are having a difference in their appreciable difference in their boiling points, then the distillation technique is generally used. And distillation is of many varieties: simple distillation, fractional distillation, steam distillation, and distillation under reduced pressure conditions. Yes, simple distillation. It is used when organic compound and impurities are present in liquid and physical state, and both are having appreciable difference in their boiling points, and both are stable in gaseous state or the vapor state. Under these conditions, generally simple distillation is applicable. The thing is, both are present in liquid state, both are having boiling points in such a way that the difference in boiling point is appreciable, maximum amount has to be present, and both compounds are to be stable above their boiling points. Under that system, this particular simple distillation is applicable. Whatever the mixture is there, that is taken in the round bottom flask and it is heated slowly to reach the boiling point's temperature. Thus whichever is having lower boiling point, that first enters into the vapor state and it is passed through the condenser, where the cold water circulation is executed from the bottom. As a result, water circulation is continuously present. Due to this, cold water temperature is very low at this zone, so therefore the vapor condenses and it is converted to liquid in physical state. Thus it is collected in a vessel. Whereas to start the vaporization for the second compound, it requires very high temperature. Under normal temperature, the given conditions, the second component never enters into the vapor state. Thus first compound, whichever is having lower boiling point, is collected over here. Higher boiling point is present in the round bottom flask as it is, and both compounds are stable in vapor state also. Thus on recollecting also, the stability remains as it is. There won't be any kind of decomposition, and moreover this particular process is executed if they are having appreciable change in their boiling points. If they are having little change, then the other compound can also be undergoes distillation. Thus distillation process is executed for the liquid organic compounds having higher stability and maintaining a appreciable difference at their boiling points. Suppose if distillation is executed for chloroform and the aniline mixture, whereas chloroform is having boiling point of 334 Kelvin, whereas aniline is having boiling point of 457 Kelvin. So before the execution of the distillation, it is a mixture, whereas after doing the distillation process, whichever is having lower boiling point, that is collected in the receiver, whereas in the round bottom flask aniline is present. Like this, because both are liquids, both are having higher boiling points, both are having a difference, appreciable difference in their boiling points, and here both are stable in vapor state also, and the difference is 334 457, a huge difference is there. Thus under normal distillation conditions, this process is executed. Yes, fractional distillation, this is a special case of distillation when the component as well as the impurities are present in liquid state and these are having very little difference in their boiling points. In such a case, we will go for the fractional distillation. Compared to distillation, here we will use a special equipment that is said to be the packed columns. Extra packed columns are used over the round bottom flask where it is consisting of the mixture. On heating, it passes, vapors passes through the extra packed column. So therefore little boiling point difference containing compounds can also be separated. Whichever is having higher boiling point, that remains over here. The lower boiling point slowly enters into the condenser and it is collected by maintaining lower temperature. This is a process of separation, careful separation of component from its impurities having little difference in their boiling points by fitting extra column between the round bottom flask as well as the condenser is said to be fractional distillation. Next is steam distillation. It is used for the steam volatile substances. Substances which are immiscible in water, substances which are maintaining intramolecular hydrogen bond etc. and are not undergoes a easy miscibility with water and which are unstable in vapor state. If it reaches towards the boiling point, then it decomposes, it is unstable. For such kind of substances, the steam distillation is generally executed. One of the example is orthonitrophenol. In this, intramolecular hydrogen bond is present, hence it is by maintaining intramolecular hydrogen bond, no functional group is free. It is not at all miscible in water. It maintains as a separate different layer when it is allowed to mix with the water. And moreover, this compound is unstable. If I gradually increase the temperature to reach its vapor state or the gaseous state, then it undergoes decomposition. For such kind of very delicate substances which are stable below the boiling point, such kind of substances generally this steam distillation is generally applicable. Whereas steam is sent through the material, so vapor pressure of material and vapor pressure of the steam when becomes equal to atmospheric pressure, it enters into the condenser and there it liquefies. Both the substances comes out, but both are immiscible and are easily separated from one another. Such a process is said to be steam distillation process. Vapor pressure 1 plus vapor pressure 2, that is vapor pressure of water vapor that we are sending from a separate channel, and vapor pressure of the compound, both will becomes equal to 1 atmospheric pressure. When this becomes equal to 1 atmospheric pressure, the combination of vapor pressures enters into the condenser and here they condenses and they will be collected in the receiver as different layers and are easily separated from one another. Orthonitrophenol is best example for the steam distillation process. The next is distillation under reduced pressure. When organic compound is having higher boiling point and it is to reach that boiling point, it requires highest amount of heat energy. And the other case, if it is having very low stability at the boiling point, if it is unstable, then under these conditions separation of organic compound is done under reduced pressure conditions. By maintaining lower pressure from outside by creation of vacuum, the actual boiling point of material is reduced. So therefore under lower temperature conditions only the material undergoes vaporization and consequently it undergoes condensation and it is separated from the other impurities. Such a process is said to be distillation under reduced pressure conditions. Yes, when organic compound is having higher boiling point and it is unstable at that high temperatures of boiling point, then by reducing external pressure or by nothing but what, by applying vacuum, we will reduce the actual boiling point and the material is converted to vapor state and consequently condensed and it is collected. That is separation is said to be what? Distillation under reduced pressure conditions. Example is glycerol is separated from the spent lye in soap industry and in the modern organic chemistry synthetic research work also. To separate the component which is a column elutant, generally we will go for the distillation under reduced pressure conditions. Whatever the solvent having lower boiling point, that will be evaporated and condensed separately. The organic material remains as it is, and here we are maintaining the low temperature condition help to eliminate the mixture component present in the mixture. Such a process is said to be what? Distillation under reduced pressure conditions. Next is differential extraction. If organic compound is present in water, aqueous medium, aqueous layer, then the separation of organic compound can be done We're making that one with the a proper shaking of the organic solvent. Thus, suppose this is aqueous layer and this is organic layer. In the beginning, after the quenching of the reaction, our material is present in the water, aqueous medium, followed by small amount of organic layer is also there. And to get the organic compound separation from the water, which are having a large difference in their densities, yes, aqueous layer is allowed to combine with the organic layer and it is shaken properly. Thereby, these two layers are differentiated one from other due to their differences in their densities. Aqueous layer comes at the bottom, organic layer present at the top. Thus, on repeatedly doing of all the things, the organic nature containing compound from aqueous layer completely transfers towards the organic layer and they can be separated. This process is said to be differential extraction process. Yes, there is a difference in their densities. There is a difference in their nature, that is organic nature and the inorganic nature. By taking these two varieties of the substances, shaking properly followed by with the help of separating funnel, separation which includes the conversion of organic material from aqueous layer to the organic layer is said to be differential extraction method. The general meaning of chromatography is the identification of compounds by its color is known as chromatography, but the basic logic behind the chromatography is adsorption. Yes, substance adsorbed over the other material depends on its nature. Certain substances adsorbs with a high quality and certain substances adsorbs with the low quality. Thereby, their desorption is also reflects the adsorption ability. By their differential adsorption and the desorption abilities, compounds are separated from one another. This particular technique generally consisting of colors associated with the compounds, hence it is said to be what? Chromatography. Yes, this chromatography is divided into two categories. One is adsorption based chromatography and second one is partition based chromatography. Adsorption based chromatography is of two varieties. One is column chromatography and second one is thin layer chromatography. Whereas in thin layer chromatography, a glass plate is coated with the liquid phased silica gel and it is solidified, and on that whatever the organic material that we want to separate is spotted in such a way that will be present somewhat away from the bottom and it is kept in a sealed vessel consisting of a proper solvent. Now this solvent due to capillary action moves to the top, and when it moves, whatever the adsorbed substance is there, along with the movement of the solvent, it also moves in such a way that the components present in the mixture are separated by distances from one another because it depends on the adsorption ability. Substances which are adsorbed tightly, they will be moving to a little distance. Substances which are adsorbed lightly, they can move. They are easily desorption takes place and they can move to the higher distance. Thus, this distance measurement is technically done with the help of a new technical term that is said to be retardation factor. That is distance travelled by a compound in the form of spot from the baseline to the distance travelled by the solvent is said to be its corresponding retardation factor. The more the retardation factor, yes, more the retardation factor implies what? Higher will be the desorption. Lightly it is adsorbed or slightly it is absorbed, that will comes first. Thus for the column chromatography, the first execution to get the minimum information is done from the thin layer chromatography. Whereas in column chromatography, what we will do is a lengthy glass tube is taken which is having open at the top and having nozzle at the bottom, and the compound which we are going to be separate, that is going to be kept at the top of the column. With the proper solvent, the elution can be executed, thus which will comes to the top, that is which is having lesser retardation factor, that will comes first, and which will be having higher retardation factor, that will comes later. Such a technique is said to be the column chromatography. In these two techniques, adsorption is the logic. Yes, in thin layer chromatography of a mixture consisting of two compounds, 1 and 2, one is present at the top having lesser retardation factor, that is easily it can undergo desorption, whereas 2 is having lower retardation factor. Now these two compounds, when allowed to separate by column chromatography, lengthy column is taken which is having open at the top and having nozzle at the bottom, and it is properly closed with the cotton at the bottom and filled with the silica gel either in dry fashion or in the wet fashion, followed by whatever the material that we want to separate, that is also adsorbed over the silica gel and it is kept at the top. With a proper solvent composition, elution has to be executed, so thereby whatever the adsorbed compound is there, that slowly undergoes desorption. Whichever is having lower retardation factor, whichever is having higher retardation factor, that will be desorbed. The desorption takes place very first and it will be coming to the bottom because flow is present from top to bottom. As per the flow of the elutant is concerned, that will be moving towards the gravity. So therefore here the compound 1 which is having higher retardation factor, that will comes first and compound 2 comes next. Thus properly these are collected in the conical vessels and they are separated one from other. This is a technique in which adsorption is the logic. By using column we are doing, hence it is said to be column chromatography. And here also adsorption, desorption, retardation factor, everything is involved over there. This thin layer chromatography is the qualitative, whereas the column chromatography is the quantitative logic applied for the separation of the materials. Yes, the next one is partition chromatography. It is based in such a way that based on continuous differential partitioning of mixture between the stationary phase and the mobile phase. And here we will take a special paper which is said to be the paper chromatograph, whereas that is cellulose trapped with the water. So therefore cellulose trapped with the water is acting as stationary phase. Whatever the material that was kept on the paper is partitioned between the water as well as the other material. So therefore it is acting as a partition. Everywhere the paper is acting, making difference of the components of one from the other present in the mixture. Hence this particular separation is said to be partition chromatography. So therefore paper contains water trapped in it and which acts as a stationary phase. On that stationary phase, whatever the material is spotted consisting of mixture, that is separated in such a way that everywhere the water droplet as well as the remaining cellulose material is acting as a stationary phase in such a way that one material is trapped to high extent, one material is trapped to less extent on behalf of its nature. Thus one moves ahead, one present at the other location. Thus by partitioning, by making partition, by making difference between the nature of the components, here the stationary phase trapped with the water is acting as partitioner, and this chromatography is said to be partition chromatography. The best example is paper chromatography.